Hello, everybody. Welcome to CMB's monthly webinar. We're so glad that you made time for us today. We know that education is important to you, and that's why you're here to hear more from a leader about your vision. So we hope that you are geared up and ready to go. Before we dive in, I'd love to invite Lisa Keel, CMB's events manager, to join us. Hello, Lisa.
Hello. Oh my gosh. Okay, y'all, momentum is in just a few months. What in the world? We're so excited. We're already in full swing of planning everything to make sure that this is an incredible momentum experience for you. As a reminder, momentum is Wednesday, May 31st through Friday, June 2nd. At Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort in Orlando. And along with all the educational opportunities we're going to have for you, this is also just a great opportunity for our whole industry together. We have tons of networking opportunities planned for you as well. So as you're confirming your travel plans, be sure to arrive Tuesday evening, May 30th, in time for the networking lounge that kicks at 7:30 that evening. We'll also have some really fun things planned Friday evening. So make sure to leave Saturday. Anytime on Saturday is great, and that'll guarantee that you won't miss anything Friday. We already have some really awesome artists confirmed who will be joining us. We've got Williams, Cody Carnes, For King and Country, Colton Dixon, Maverick City, and Lauren Daigle. And we're also going to be confirming more this week. So just be sure to check our website as we add those artists. Also be sure to check your inbox later today as we're going to be sending out a list of the breakout topics. And one more thing, mark calendars for Wednesday, May 10th at 12 Central. This will be our All Things Momentum webinar. It's for those of you who have been to Momentum before, but also for those that this might be your first Momentum. We're going to go through all the information and hear how, and we'll tell you about how you can make the most out of your mindset momentum. And we're just really excited. So we hope that you'll join us in Orlando, but also join us Wednesday, May 10th for that All Things webinar. Here to talk about more momentum things and memberships is Andrea.
Hi, and Lisa, you said momentum is in a few months, but it's actually 12 weeks from today to be exact. So craziness. So yes, momentum registration is in full swing. Registration will close on May 19th. So mark that on your calendar, or better yet, just go ahead and register. You can see the different prices based on your membership level. These prices will not change from now until when registration closes. But like I said, just be sure to go ahead and get registered. Make sure you book your hotel, your flights, all the things. And info is being added to our website, like Lisa said, nearly daily. So make sure you visit cmbonline.org to check all of that out. Also, if you have not signed up for your 2023 CMB membership, it is not too late. Obviously, we offer a great member discount for members for Momentum registration, but our memberships also offer so many great things, even if you aren't attending Momentum this year. Benefits like access to archive webinars. So if you ever miss one of these monthly webinars, you have the ability to go back and rewatch. Media-based access, access to our member directory, voting privileges, our monthly member benefits that have been wildly successful and a fan favorite, and so much more. So you can see the prices of our memberships listed here. And if you have any questions at all about what it means to be a CMB member, I would love to talk to you. You can reach out to me at andrea@cmbonline.org. Okay, now on to our biannual salary survey. The deadline to be included in the salary survey has been extended to March 13th. So obviously, the more who participate, the better the information is that is collected. So be sure to do that. Participating stations and CMB Gold and Silver members will receive the comprehensive report for free. So it doesn't get much better than that. So if you did not receive a link, or if you have any questions or need assistance with logging in to complete that, just reach out to me and I will definitely point you in the right direction. So last but not least, we have our breakout artist of the year performance at Momentum. We introduced this last year. It was so fun. And everybody enjoyed it. So we are bringing it back this year. So all CMB members should have received an email in order to vote. You can see the artists here that we'll be voting on, and whoever wins will get a performance at Momentum. So voting closes next Wednesday, the 15th. If you did not receive that email or just can't find it, just let me know and I'll get that to you. So anyways, as always, if you have any questions, I know it feels like I talk so fast because I have so many things I need to tell you guys, but feel free to reach out to me, Andrea at cmbonline.org. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for running through all the great stuff that's happening right now. And so hard to believe 12 weeks from Momentum. Yay. Well, you know what? These webinars would not be possible without the support of Current Strategies. And we love their team there. And we would love to welcome Debbie Swindoll. She's going to come here and share a little bit more about Current Strategies. Hi, Debbie.
Hi. Yeah, at Current Strategies, we want to help you in radio to grow professionally. But one of the things that we do in our business is we think about the spiritual aspects of what we do at work too. So I want to talk today about the fact that work is also fertile ground for spiritual growth, not just professional growth. So I want to give you something to reflect on spiritually in the coming days. And it's this question. While you are on the job, are you working for God or are you working with God? There's a big difference between those two concepts. While there's nothing wrong with wanting to do good work for God, we can go about accomplishing that without really engaging in our relationship with God, without talking with him, without asking for his opinion, without pausing to recognize that his presence is with us as we go about our day. We can do good work for God on our own. Just think about that for a second. We can do good work for God on our own. I guess I want you to wonder, is God inviting you to something more than that? So in this next month, as you're going about your work, just keep that question in the back of your mind as you're kind of just reflecting and evaluating with God. Am I doing my work on my job for God or with him? Back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Debbie. What great words to think through today. Well, we are in for a treat with Kurt Swindoll. He is here today to talk about vision, and I hope you guys will take notes. If you have questions during our time, just jot them down or shoot them in the Q&A or put it in the chat. I'll come back at the end and throw them all at Kurt. He said that nothing is off limits, right, Kurt?
I don't think that's exactly what I said, but we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Well, we are so glad you're here. Thank
you.
you. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks very much. Let me make sure that we're all working correctly. Does this look okay? Yep. Looks like the screen is showing up. That's great. So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I'm thrilled to be a part of this webinar and present to you some ideas on vision. This is one of those evergreen topics, isn't it? I mean, like, how many conversations, how many presentations, how many books have you read on the subject of vision? And I want to treat it a little bit differently today. We'll give some definition to it and some of that for sure. But the main thing I want to do is to share with you a key tool that I've come across that is a part of something called the entrepreneurial operating system. And let me make sure that's going. Here we go. That's a part of the entrepreneurial operating system. And so just to give you a little bit of context on what we'll be looking at today, this tool is kind of a foundational tool that helps organizations clarify their vision. And we'll talk about what that means in a second. And just to give you a little bit more context, EOS has been professionally implemented in like 19,000 organizations across 135,000 full session days. So what I'm sharing with you is road tested, all right? We're not kind of walking around wondering if this works and if this can be impactful or anything like that, all right? So that's important to know. At a high level, EOS helps organizations clarify their vision, create traction around that vision, which means they have focus and discipline and accountability, and they're executing on that vision. And then they're encouraging along the way healthy relationships through very open and honest communication. So that's at a high level what EOS is all about, okay? So what I want to do is now I want to get real with you and say, like, what are we talking about when we talk about what is great vision? All right. And I want to give you some ideas on some of this. Very, very simply, vision is a clear, concise, and compelling statement of where you're going and how you're going to get there, and really even who you are. Who are we? Where are we going? How do we plan to get there? The book Playing to Win by Lafley and Martin, which are a couple of guys that worked at Procter & Gamble for 10 years. They added $100 billion in value. They doubled revenue. They quadrupled sales. I mean, had a masterful impact at P&G. They asked this question: what is your winning aspiration? And I think that certainly is one of the great questions to ask as it relates to vision. But I want to present to you like 6 or 7 more that can be helpful in really clarifying who are we, where are we going, and how do we plan to get there. You know, Jim Collins back in the 90s wrote in his book Built to Last about the idea of a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's another idea that kind of captures the thought about vision. At the end of the day, though, it's got to be something that's motivating and inspiring to your team. And all too often, it is not. And that's because we lack clarity. We have a lot of confusion around it. All right. And so here are some thoughts on what creates really confusion around vision. It's maybe answering the question a different way. I asked one organization I was working with, what is your vision? Like, what is your single measure of success over the next 10 years? And I got 3 different answers. And when you get different answers, what you get is different direction, different opinions, different priorities, different decision-making, right? Confusion and frustration. And, I've always loved that quote: when you've got fog in the pulpit, what? We've got fog in the pew. And so my goal today is to say, what are the key questions we can answer that will bring greater clarity to who you are as an organization, where you're going, how you plan to get there, and how that can create something that can be incredibly inspiring and motivating for your team, and actually an asset for you as you look to find new people to work in your organization. All right. So how do we go about this process of clarifying vision? Well, first, I want to suggest that we've got to keep some things pretty simple here. Complexity kills, confusion kills. Simplicity will really help us in growing and becoming all that we feel God is calling us to be. So to keep things simple, we have got to get everybody on the same page with who we are, where we're going, and how we plan to get there. So I'm going to give you one more point of context as it relates to EOS, and then we're going to jump into this tool that I want to talk with you about. And this idea is this: when EOS was first being assembled about 15 years ago, the founder of EOS, a gentleman by the name of Gino Wickman, discovered that great leaders and great organizations are strong in 6 key component areas of their organization. And those are vision, what we've been talking about, we'll be talking about a lot more, people, having the right people in the right seats on the bus here, data, having a handful of measures that give you an absolute pulse on objectively evaluating how strong and healthy are we. Issues, solving problems as they arise, making them go away forever. Process, making sure the most important things that we do are being done the right way and the same way every time. And then traction, wrestling vision to the ground and executing on it, again, with discipline and accountability and real focus. So these are the 6 areas that are a part of the EOS model. And we're going to focus our time right now on this one area of vision. And the suggestion is that I want us to answer 8 questions that are a part of that. 8 questions that will help give us greater clarity around vision. All right. Those 8 questions are presented here on a little model that we call the Vision Traction Organizer, the VTO. And the questions are in the gray sections that you see on the screen here. All right. So what are our core values? What is our core focus? What is our 10-year target? What's our marketing strategy? What's our 3-year picture? And those 5 questions all are a part of the vision page on the VTO. And then if we turn that page to the second part, the traction page, ask 3 more questions. What is our 1-year plan? What are our quarterly rocks? And then what are the issues on our issues list? Okay, so these are the 8 questions that are a part of this Vision Traction Organizer. So I'm going to take you back to the first page of that, and we're going to go through each of those 8 questions one at a time here. Don't have a lot of time for each one, but hopefully we can spell out each one in a way that kind of gives you something to think about, all right? So the first of these questions is the question of, what are our core values? My guess is that most organizations on this call have stated something around what are our core values. But a lot of the core values I run into in the organizations I work with, sometimes they're an extension of their statement of faith, what they believe in, but not necessarily core values that are a definition of your unique culture. I'm going to say that again. Your core values really should be enduring values that define your unique culture. So we'll talk about what some of those values may or may not be here in just a second. So the first thought I want to give you is that core values are something that we discover. They're not something we create. In fact, there was an article that Pat Lencioni wrote on core values and core values traps. He wrote this for the Harvard Business Review, and he suggests there are several core values traps we can fall into, and one of those is that we define aspirational values as a core value. An aspirational value, something we wish were true of our organization, is not actually a core value. It's something we may aspire to, but it's not actually a truism about who we are. So values are something we really need to discover about what exists today. Second, they define our culture. They don't define what we believe about the Bible or what we believe about Jesus or something like that. They really define our unique culture. Third, they should be something we are living and breathing. And then fourth, they really help us define, do we have the right people on our team? And so here's a simple question that you can ask when you've defined your core values. For every single person in your organization, ask this question. Does Jim reflect core value A most of the time, some of the time, or not often enough? And our goal, obviously, is that most of the time, Jim is reflecting core value A and B and C. So the second thing I want you to think about, we can't have aspirational values. We also can't have what we call accidental values. That's what Pat Lencioni called values, where we happen to hire a bunch of creative people, and so we think creativity is a core value of our organization. But no one wants a creative bookkeeper. Core values have to be values that need to be true of every single person in the organization. And the third thing I want to leave you with is this idea of Our values can't be what we call permission to play values, because that does not uniquely define us. So I've run into a lot of organizations for which integrity is one of their values, or hard work is maybe a value. And while those are important things to hire for, and I encourage you to hire for them, they don't define your unique culture. So we're trying to come up with our 3 to 5 values that are abiding characteristics of your organization and define it in really a unique way. Okay, so that's the first question on this VTO, and a part of clarifying our vision and stating who are we as an organization. Values help you do that. The second question here is something we call core focus. And core focus is kind of the sweet spot of your organization. What is it that we do really, really well? And there are really 2 parts to this. The first part is, what is our purpose, cause, or passion? Which is really a statement about why we do what we do. Why do we do this work? A step below fulfilling the Great Commission, because like that's what all Christian organizations have in common, right? A step below that, why do we do this work? And the second question here is, what is our niche? In very, very simple terms, what is it that we do? So, purpose, cause, or passion. Why do we do our niche? What we do? Why do we do what we do? You get the idea there? So let me give you a couple of examples of this. I know of a restoration company that had this: we restore lives so that troubles are forgotten. Isn't that a sweet idea? We restore lives so that troubles are forgotten. In our company, Debbie and I have established that we help leaders discover more than business as usual. So that is our purpose, cause, or passion, discovering that there is more than business as usual out there. And we do that through our niche, which is integrating business and spiritual practices. We help leaders discover more than business as usual by helping them integrate business and spiritual practices. Great practices on both sides. Here's another one. A commercial cleaning company that I work with said, we enhance facilities. That's really their niche. They enhance facilities to impact lives and reflect God's glory. That's their purpose, cause, or passion. They want to impact people's lives, and they certainly want to reflect God's glory. And they do that by enhancing facilities. One more thought, or one more suggestion or example of this. Our church says, we help ordinary people discover an extraordinary life. That's the purpose, cause, or passion of our church. And they do that through relational connection and investment. So again, very, very simple statements, 5 to 7 words. What is your purpose, cause, or passion? Why you do everything that you do? And then in even 2 or 3 words, what is your niche? Suggestion there. These things ought to be the heart of your organization. I've already said they've got to be what you do and why you do it. And really, what do we do with all of this? We define what is the right work for us to do. So you may have some temptations coming at you, like, can you get into this? And can we broadcast that? Or can we make this kind of thing available? Can we do this in the community? And it might be great work, but if it's not related to your purpose, cause, or passion and your niche, in other words, your core focus, it's work you shouldn't be doing. So that's the second question here. What are our values? Who are we? What is our core focus? Why do we do what we do? And then our third question is, what is our 10-year target? And this is the question that most often we think about when we think about vision. So I'm trying to give you an expanded view of this today. The idea of a 10-year target is, what is our great motivational goal? And I use the word goal purposefully because it needs to be something we measure. What is it that we're trying to accomplish? Over the next 10 years, how will we define success? Now, I say 10-year target. We have some organizations that establish this for 5 to 7 years. Some might go longer, but most organizations find a 10-year time frame is a long-term time frame that's long enough for them. And it's something that they're focusing on over several years. So it's the number one factor we'll use to evaluate success. And it's what we are typically thinking about when we think about this idea of vision. So if core values is who we are, core focus is why we do what we do, 10-year target, it's where we're going. Where we're going. And I think it'd be interesting if we had time, I would say, I want you to ask this question of your leadership team. What do you think is our single great motivational goal here over the next 10 years? How will we define success? And see if you get consistency or inconsistency across the board. If there's inconsistency, you are going different directions. And like we say, 5 degrees off when we're trying to reach the moon, we won't reach anything but maybe Saturn and maybe nothing. So we need clarity and focus and agreement around what that aspirational goal is all about. Okay? Where are we going? That's the 10-year target. All right. Our fourth question on the VTO is, what is our marketing strategy? How are we going to invest the precious few dollars we have to invest in marketing? And our suggestion is that you answer 4 questions here. The first is, what is our target market, or what we call the list? And that question is really answered by responding to 3 questions. Who is our target market? Who are they demographically? Where are they geographically? And what do they want psychographically? Who are they demographically? Age, professional nature or not, occupations, roles in life, these kinds of things. Who are they demographically? Where are they geographically? And then really most importantly, what is it that they want from us? What is it that they want in life that we want to be able to give them? All right. Second question in this, what are our 3 uniques? And when we talk about the 3 uniques, these are the things that make us really unique against all of the other stations in your market, the other stations that you in effect compete against. And so to understand what makes you unique, we need to identify 3 things that is unique about you when taken together. So any one of them may not be unique, but taken together, they truly are what make you unique. And also they've got to be 3 things that your constituents, that your listeners value. Not 3 things you value and appreciate. We've got great technology. We've got, great artists, whatever it might be, but what are 3 things they value, that they find that are important, that are unique to you? And then this gets woven into your fundraising messaging and your communication and all of that. All right. Third question in this is, how do we take care of our listeners? And in fact, what's the journey that we're taking them on? So I want you to explore this idea of creating not a bunch of words, but a 1-page color illustration that says, this is the journey we take our listeners on from the first moment they hear about us until they're in a deep, long-term relationship with us. Let me show you a couple of examples of this. The first one is here. This is the EOS implementation process. So we start with what we call a 90-minute meeting, then we have this focus day and 2 vision building days, and then we wind up in this 90-day world. And I won't go into all of that, but I'm just trying to give you a visual illustration of the journey I take my clients on. So here's what this looked like when we had our church go through the process of defining their work from a relational standpoint. We didn't want to define our church from a programmatic standpoint, but from a relational standpoint. And so they think of first-time attendees as guests, and then they move from being a guest, and there are some bullet points below that about the kind of experience that they want those guests to have. And then when they come back, they may come back for several weeks, and now they're really exploring, is this a place I want to call home? And then they may continue to come back for another 1 to 3 months, where they're really moving more into a friendship stage of their development. And there's some thoughts that we have in bullet points below that. And then from there, they decide, we want to be a part of this church family. So what does that mean? What kind of interaction are we having with people who've made that decision to become a part of the church family? And then finally, what does it look like now to really belong in this church environment? Where am I going to express my gifts? For sure, but we continue learning, we're growing and building community, and we're growing and expressing and engaging in spiritual practices. So this is an example of a proven process that our church has used. The last point that I didn't make a second ago is, what is our guarantee? And the guarantee is really, how are we going to overcome objections or hesitancies about investing in your work that you do? And this brings up a good point, and that is that sometimes we work with organizations that actually have a couple of different markets. They may have a constituency, a listenership, something like that. They may have donors that are a second group or a separate group of people. Sometimes they're the same group of people, and that's fine. But if you have different constituencies, then we've got to answer these 4 questions 2 times, okay? So that's a part of clarifying, what is our marketing strategy? How are we investing our go-to-market dollars? The 5th question that's a part of the VTO, and now we're going to start getting more specific, is what is our 3-year picture? And the idea here is, I want everybody on your leadership team to be able to envision, where are we going to be 3 years from now? Because if that's a vision that we share, we have a much greater chance of accomplishing it. And there are really 2 aspects to vision, or I'm sorry, to the 3-year picture. And that is, there are some numbers that are a part of this. So we literally put a date on there. Where will revenue be? Instead of profit, it might be, where will our net revenue be? Or where will our cash be? That you can look at that different ways. That 10-year target, where will we be 3 years from now? That's the key measurable there. That 10-year target that we're measuring out 10 years, we want to be broadcasting to 1 million people. Then will we be at 100,000 people 3 years from now? So where will we be 3 years from now? And then finally, 5 to 15 bullet points that describe the capabilities, the dimension of your organization. They could be things like capabilities, number of staff, markets that you're in, the kinds of services that you're providing, the things that you're doing in the community. Maybe it's expanding a division at your station. Maybe it's expanding your leadership team and bringing on a new senior leader with some enhanced abilities and capabilities in a certain area. Whatever those bullet points are, let's define at a high level, not in goals, but general ideas of, we'll have these kinds of capabilities, we'll have this kind of dimension to our organization, and it creates a picture of where you'll be in 3 years. All right, turning our tables now to the traction part of the Vision Traction Organizer. We're going to get really specific. The 1-year plan, same thing. We have got numbers there. What's the date? What will the end of this year be? Where will revenue be at the end of this year? Where will our net profit or our net revenue be, or our cash be at the end of this year? That 10-year target, we talked about where we'll be in 3 years. Now we want to know, where will that number be within 1 year from now? And then we want to identify 3 to 7 goals that you're going to establish for the year. 3 to 7 things we've absolutely got to get done this year. 3 to 7 things that are a part of that are the goals that we have for the year. And these have to be SMART, right? They've got to be specific. They have to be measurable. They have to be things that we can actually attain. It's got to be realistic, things that we can actually get done in a year. And then certainly the date on this makes them timely. There's a time consideration that's a part of it. So those are, so why 3 to 7? Because when we've got 15 or 20 goals as an organization, we have too many things. And when everything is important, nothing is important. I want to know, what have we got to get done this year? 3 to 7 things we've got to get done. So that's a part of clarifying what is a part of our 1-year plan. Now, a plan gets executed in 4 quarters. And so the next question on our VTO is, what are the things we've got to get done over the next 3 months? We have 4 planning and execution sessions in a year. We have 12 over 3 years to accomplish the 3-year picture. So each one of these quarters is really important. The reason we break this down into quarters is because your attention becomes dispersed over the course of the 90 days. And what we want to do is we want to recenter attention back on what is most important in the next 90 days. So again, date, revenue, net revenue, key measurable, 10-year measurable, where will it be 3 months from now? And then finally, what are the rocks we're signing up for? Now, what is a rock? A rock is any project or initiative or priority that moves you, your department, or your organization forward. I like to put it this way. It's not getting payroll out. It could be changing payroll systems, right? So these are the 90-day rocks that we set up, and our suggestion is every leader signs up for 3 to 7 of these rocks every quarter, and these are reviewed through the course of the quarter in ways I don't have time to get into today. But this is a part of the VTO, identifying out of all of those rocks that the leadership team has signed up for, what are the 3 to 7 of those rocks that we're going to call company rocks? And those are the most important rocks we're going to get done in the next 90 days. And we're going to identify who is responsible for them. All right. So that's a part of the VTO in establishing rocks, and part of the overall vision in creating clarity about where we're going. And in this case, how are we planning to get there over the next quarter? The final question that's a part of this VTO is what's on our issues list? And these are things that are kind of in the parking lot. We're not addressing them this quarter, but these are the outstanding opportunities and challenges and things that we need to solve as a team. They're things that we want to consider executing on in a future quarter. And so we really normalize for our clients the process of calling these things out and documenting them so we don't forget them. So those are the 8 questions that are a part of the VTO and a part of creating clarity around your vision. Who are we? Where are we going? And how do we plan to get there? So I hope this has been helpful to you. I want to suggest to you that just because we've got these 8 questions answered doesn't mean that we're strong in vision. We've got to make sure that this information, that these answers are being shared and agreed on by everybody on your team. And so that's all a part of the process of making sure you're getting good results. Our founder, Gino Wickman, says, vision without traction is hallucination. I shared that with all of you in the last CMB webinar that we had last month. And so the idea here is that we can't just have vision. We've got to be executing on it. And I'll just say very quickly, the VTO that we've talked about today is one of actually 5 foundational tools that are a part of the whole EOS system and process. So if you can imagine it, the VTO creates clarity about all of these things. And then a lot of these other tools help us in creating now traction around that vision so we can be executing on it with diligence and accountability. So those are the thoughts that I wanted to share with you. And I want to invite Michelle to hop back on. I don't know if there have been any questions that have come up, or if you have any questions, Michelle, that come to mind, but we're around 12:40 here, and I know that we want to be done in about 5 minutes, but I'm happy to take any questions that might be surfacing, anything that this might have raised for people.
You bringing up Gino Wickman, I don't know if our friends that are joining us have seen his videos, but he is incredibly talented, so talented that we looked into having him speak at Momentum and realized that he is passed away. So, but
no, he's not. No. Gino's alive and well.
Oh, I thought that he passed. That's not.
No. I don't know. Gino's father has passed away. I don't know if maybe that Floyd Wickman has passed away. Maybe that's what you were thinking about. No, Gino's around, and And there are any number of people who can speak, about some of these things eloquently. In fact, we've got a session that we can do that's kind of a 2-hour session, 2 to 4 hours even, where we dive into some of these ideas even more thoroughly and all. But yeah, Gino Wickman was
I'm so glad.
yeah, he's an entrepreneur that's up in the Minnesota area. He actually sold EOS 4 or 5 or so years ago, 6 years ago now, and is working on some other things as a part of his continued development as a person and a business person, all that. And there are a number of EOS implementers like myself that have really taken the tools that Gino originally created and inspired, and are now helping organizations understand how to implement those things. He has written some books, though, so I should mention that. So
yeah, I was going to ask you, all this information is so great, but it might seem a little overwhelming. So
totally.
People to look at first.
I would suggest 2 books, and they're on Amazon. The first is called Traction: Getting a Grip on Your Business. And it's really a compendium of everything there is to know and understand about EOS. And so it's kind of a bit of an encyclopedia of sorts, but it just talks about the EOS system. And it's a New York Times bestseller. We run into people all the time that are reading Traction or have read Traction. The second book is called Get a Grip, and it's a Patrick Lencioni type of business fable, not written by Pat, but it's a business fable that talks about a company implementing EOS. And so sometimes it's easier to read a story than it is to read an encyclopedia. And so, but Traction is an amazing book, and Get a Grip is a great book. And that will give you some more information on the VTO and how you create clarity around vision.
One of the things that you said that really jumped out to me was, and I wrote it down, what makes you unique? And I think it's something that every radio station needs to examine for themselves when they're in a sea of different different opportunities for people to have a share of the ear. So what is it that's going to drive somebody to that radio station? And I really believe that that's a question that radio stations need to continue to ask themselves. So I'm glad you brought that up.
It's a good one. And the litmus test I always use when I meet with clients, and we've talked about their 3 uniques, we'll get back together later on and I'll say, so how are you feeling about their 3 uniques? Oh, we think they're good. Great. Are you using them in your communication with donors? Are you using them in your communication with listeners? Well, I don't know that we're doing that quite yet. And that tells me we're not settled on it. When I get a response, absolutely. It's a part of every conversation, because they realize the power in being able to say to somebody, these are the 3 things that make us distinct. Southwest Airlines says they have the 3 LFs: low fares, lots of flights, lots of fun. Anybody who's taken a Southwest flight, that's true, right? Low fares, lots of flights, lots of fun. And when somebody responds and says, we're kind of griping that we want to be able to choose our seat and all of that, their response is, thank you for being a part of our airlines, but that's not a part of who we are. And you need to find someone else. And we can feel confident in saying that because it's just not us, Those uniques are important.
So thank you for diving into that a little bit. We had Kurt years ago do a part of our Leadership Momentum Summit, and he's actually going to be joining us in Nashville this year for our next Leadership Summit. And we will look forward to you expanding even more on these things. So
somebody asked what the 3 unique was. The third unique. I don't know if they were talking specifically about Southwest Airlines. Lots of flights, lots of fun, and low fares were the 3 uniques that I mentioned there. I did not mention 3 uniques as a part of this because you have to discover and understand what it is that makes you unique as a station, as a broadcast ministry. What is it that we do in our community that it's not that nobody else does in any other part of the world, but at least in the markets that you serve, this is how we serve that market in a real distinctive kind of way. So, and some of those things may not have a lot to do with who you're playing on air. It may have to do with the relationships that you have in the community and the churches it may have to do with something else. It may have to do with something that you're playing on the air, but we're looking for those three things taken together that make you unique.
Thanks for that question, Evan.
Yep.
All right, Kurt, thank you so much for being here today. We look forward to seeing you again in November.
Somebody asked one other question, Michelle. What does
Okay.
VTO stand for? The Vision Traction Organizer. And actually Google that and you will find examples online of that, and maybe even something you can download and start filling in and all. And obviously we would love to help anybody who wants some support in this process. So
That's great. Well, thanks, Kurt. You guys take care. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
thank you.